Hi, Sheriff. My name's Nick Smith. I'm part of the Somerset County Youth Council, and I'm just going to ask you about your responsibilities in your jurisdiction here today.
Great.
My first question for you is, how long have you been in criminal justice and policing?
Well, in the policing field, I started in August of '85. I
Okay.
went through the police academy in Middlesex. I was hired in Franklin Township Police Department. So that was the beginning of my career. Um, After 31 years there and retiring as a lieutenant, I had about 3 years off, and then I ran and started in the sheriff's office.
What prompted you to run for sheriff?
Pretty much the same thing that prompted me to run to be a police officer. Always had the desire to help people. Always had that desire to serve and kind of protect the community. That's getting started in Franklin Township, and throughout my career, I did enjoy, helping the other officers as I, gained a little more experience. And I just felt that taking that experience in Franklin and bring it up here and try to and move the sheriff's office, advance it a little bit more forward. The police department, we're out there answering calls constantly. When you're here in the sheriff's office, your main function is the courts, securing the courts,
Okay.
securing the judges. And I also have the jail, so the function there is obviously to protect the prisoners, keep the prisoners in.
Yep.
So it's definitely sort of a different function. Opened up a little bit with the sheriff's office, with getting the officers out on the road. I always felt that, even in Franklin, be a part of the community. Get out there and know the people, the business people. Go out there and know the community leaders. Spend some time with them. The places of worship and the schools. I was very big with the schools and, like I said, businesses, interacting with them.
Awesome.
You gain their support, you give them our support, and you work together on things. So I just saw an opportunity here as a sheriff. It wasn't happening. So it's what I've done. One of the major things I've done the year I've been here is to get the officers out into the streets more, out with the community more, and just work with the leaders and work with the community.
That's awesome. Like a community policing model, kind of?
Yes, that came about years back when I was in the police department, and I kind of looked at it when it originally came out with the name. They renamed it community policing,
Mm-hmm.
and to me that's police work.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
they stuck a name to it, and they did a program with it. And it
Mm-hmm.
was basically what I was doing for the first 10 years of my
That's awesome.
career. And this, the powers to be, you need
Like
it,
an
so.
engineer of it. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So, what are your specific responsibilities in your jurisdiction as sheriff?
Well, as sheriff here in the law enforcement side, we secure the courts, protect the judges, everybody that comes in and out of courts. We also have the administrative buildings, the county buildings, and the grounds. So we just keep all of that safe and secure. There's some smaller things in there that we do. Division Motor Vehicle, we're stationed at. Now it's called the Motor Vehicle Commission, I believe they changed it.
I think so. Yeah, MVC, right? Yeah.
Of course, they changed the name there. We also have an officer in the VOTEC school. And then we also assist local police departments. So there could be, like, you have a storm or a flood, blizzard, things of that nature. We are out, because generally the courts get closed when those conditions occur. And that gives us the opportunity to get out and help the local police departments. We do a couple other things, medicine drop. We do a lot of that, picking up, just starting different units up, trying to get out
Okay.
there more with the officers on the street and with the community.
Gotcha. I feel like a common misconception, something I didn't know prior to coming here. So your responsibility is kind of the entire county, whereas the police department would be a township or a town, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. They have their local towns. There's 21 in Somerset County,
Okay.
and then there's one sheriff,
Gotcha.
which has the entire county.
What are some things you wish the public would consider or know when thinking about your position or role in our community?
Well, obviously, police work is not. It's a difficult job,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Absolutely.
most people kind of don't understand. You watch your TV shows for an hour, and they always solve the crime. Something happens, the police officer shoots someone in the foot, and they go quietly to
Mhm.
jail. That's not real life. And it would be nice if people kind of understood a little better of the reality of police work, our split-second decisions that we have to make. Going to a call, not knowing what's there, stopping a motor vehicle. You stopped for a red light, but we don't know maybe why you ran that red light.
Mhm.
So the perception of the police officers by the public, I think, I'd like to change. I'd like to try to get people to understand a little better of what we do. Best ways to do that is to get out in the public and talk with them and meet with them.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm trying to do.
Hmm.
Trying to, like I say, enlighten people as to, the perils of our job and the difficulties that we face. And just, sometimes there's maybe a better way for the public to act to kind of help
Okay.
us in the way we handle our job or
Hmm.
handle, the thing that we go to, a call that we go to.
Gotcha.
So,
Do you think you have the opportunity or the resources to get out to the public?
yes. I will say that the COVID, which shutting down a little bit of the courts,
Okay.
it's allowed me to pull some of the officers into the public more.
Awesome.
I also feel that quite possibly when they reopen things, I don't think it's going to be as open as it used to be.
Hmm.
I mean, we used to bring 300 people in for grand juries. Well, they can
Okay.
Zoom and bring in only 50 maybe now.
Hmm.
So things like that, I think, are going to keep the courts a little bit slower, I'll say, which would give me more opportunities, obviously. But I also think when I came here, the way they were previously utilizing officers, I think, was a little inefficient. So
Okay.
I've made some changes there to get officers on the road and meet the public.
Great. So more of that community model.
Yes.
Um, how have you, and if you have, how have you changed your practices or the practices of the department due to the current social and racial justice movement and police reform movements?
Changing them, training. You're always trying to keep up on training.
Hmm.
Things change every day, so you just want to stay ahead of that curve. As far as like some of the things that have been going on in the country, we've always trained for I'll say civil unrest or protests or peaceful protests, no
Hmm.
matter what it is. And we train different ways for everything like that. So to secure the courts, even the jail, sometimes the prisoners will act a little different the way society's acting. And we've always trained for that. So training is the best way to keep up and stay ahead of any changes, any dislikes towards us, any
Hmm.
likes towards us. So just biggest thing is training.
Gotcha. Do you think you have the resources for that training?
It's a shame, but one of the first things that gets cut is training.
Hmm.
You want to try to keep up with it, and sometimes it's really difficult. Now, last year with the COVID, they canceled most training,
Hmm.
so you start getting, maybe you save the money, but you fall behind in training, which is more important. You need to train the officers.
Gotcha.
What they've actually gone to now a lot is Zoom training. So the officers aren't traveling. You're not paying that big price to go to a big classroom.
Hmm.
Doing it on Zoom it's a little cheaper and a little more reasonable, and you can actually get more officers in there to be
Yeah.
trained.
Gotcha.
So,
And speaking of the training, what might some of this training entail, and how would it um, kind of curtail to the social justice movement? How would it make a difference?
well, you have crowd dispersement, that kind of thing originally, which we're always training and keeping up on. But you also have the diversity of the community. I mean, the officers need to be trained on what's out there. Different cultures,
Hmm.
the different way people view not just the police, but just the laws or the courts. So you need to keep up on who's in your community, know your community.
Hmm.
You can do that through training, your sensitivity training or bias training, things like that. Um, a lot of times I look at it like it's also a little bit of common sense as a
Okay.
police officer. You may come up on a scene where somebody's, obviously not somebody may have been in the country for a long time or is confused, and you got to sympathize. You got to try to like help them out. You don't want to just muscle your way through
Hmm.
something. A lot of times it takes, you want to talk to someone and when they say better with sugar and vinegar or honey and vinegar,
Mm. Yeah. Yep.
something, one of those phrases.
One of those.
It's you just gotta learn how to talk to people, and you also have to read people. So if people aren't understanding what I'm telling them, neither one of us is gonna win.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you got to just kind of understand that person, maybe understand their culture, and that again comes through training too.
Gotcha. And then, last question actually. In the future, what is something you would like to fix in our community? Maybe a major or minor issue? And what is one thing you would like the public to do in the future?
Like to fix in the community, huh? Well, I would love to see, more support for the police. And in the same term, I love to see the police understand and let the police officers get out there with the community. And that goes for municipal, state, local.
Hmm.
It goes for all of them. Federal. Um, Somehow training the public, but I'd love to start some type of academy for adults. I know we do a junior academy for kids, but I think some adults, or I'll even say politicians, or maybe they can come to the simulator and understand what we are going through. So just something to change or something that you want to improve, I guess you're saying or asking
Hmm.
for the community. It's that working together.
Awesome.
So I'm always looking to up the bar on that more and more. Once you accomplish it here, to me, it's like, well, let's move up here now, and
Gotcha.
let's move up another step. So it's just, well, we always trying to improve on that.
Well, that's all for today, Sheriff. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.